Midday Show with Harry Mays and Eitan Chander on 97.3 ESPN Radio.
Well, it's the first time that we've basically been able to, you and I, talk about together in front of our audience here, depending on how you're consuming the Mays and Eitan show.
And there's a lot of different ways to consume.
Correct. And I'm saying that the Deshaun Jackson news, I think, is the most pressing thing going on right now.
It is.
And I don't know how anybody would be blaming individuals, specifically Deshaun Jackson, for not electing surgery.
Why not?
Because I don't think anybody who's ever played a professional sport would agree that if you don't personally want to undergo surgery, then you don't go undergo surgery.
Yeah, I know,
That's
but I
just
mean,
the nature of
it's part of being a football player. You
That's
got to
not
get
true.
surgery.
That's not true.
It is. It's part of being a professional athlete. There's a lot of times you're going to have to go under the
You won't find
knife.
one professional athlete that's played that would agree with that. That's
Really?
Yes, that's us from the outside saying,
I'm just
oh,
saying.
you go out there and that's like the meathead, mentality of these guys go out there and do everything. The fact that he didn't want surgery and was told, or at least through other methods.
Well, I partially blame him. I blame the organization. I blame the doctors.
Organization is who to blame.
I do. I blame them. I blame Howie Roseman for not foreseeing this and being more aggressive.
That's the biggest problem, right?
And all that sort of thing.
But how are you going to blame Deshaun?
Well, because I am.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, because as part of it, I can just put myself in that situation, and the doctors are saying, well, you could elect to have surgery, and you could be back most likely by X. Or you can try to rehab it on your own without surgery, and we'll try to manage it and try to get you ready and blah, blah, blah. But there's no guarantees. And oh, by the way, and I'm like thinking, hey, I'd like to be back with my team and give it the best I can way before the playoffs to sort of, be ready by the bye week, whatever the case may be, 7-8 weeks from now. Let's go get it done.
There was no guarantee that the surgery would get him back in 4 weeks. There was zero guarantees about that.
But it was recommended.
It was recommended by team doctors, more so than his own
independent people too.
And that's what happened, is his own people, the people that he had independently. And look, the problem that you run into when you blame the player or when you hold the player higher than Howie Roseman, and I agree, Roseman is the biggest problem here, is that the team doesn't have Deshaun's long-term interest. We know that.
Well, no. What is long-term interest?
Like anything after most likely this year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There is no long-term interest, period.
Well, there is from a player standpoint, and that's where I think the disconnect lies in the blaming of Deshaun.
Well, his career's winding down.
Absolutely.
Okay, so wouldn't you, if you were him, if you're thinking, man, I only have so much time left, the quicker I can get back and contribute here, I just signed a contract with these guys. Let's go. I want to play.
I don't think that it was an automatic correlation. And the bottom line is that the Philadelphia Eagles did not need Deshaun Jackson back on the field if, in fact, Howie Roseman made a trade or brought in somebody other than Jordan Matthews. Here's the thing. I think, I'll meet you halfway. I think you aren't even upset with Deshaun Jackson today if Howie Roseman and the front office handled their business in the offseason and in midseason.
Well, yeah, the draft pick of J.J. Arcega-Whiteside has given them nothing.
It's a great place
when
to
I
start.
start looking at D.K. Metcalf, for example, that's one example. That's not the only example.
Well, why don't you
but it's
use
the most recent.
the kid in Washington? He's
right. A kid from Ohio State.
Right.
Yeah, whose name escapes me at this point. McLaurin.
Right.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin, who, was really good against the Eagles in week 1, and he was taken in the 3rd round. And I'm thinking, like, dude, and I didn't know what we had with J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, or what we didn't have at that point. Now it looks like we don't have anything, because we got Doug saying that he can play all these different positions, you can move him here and do this, yet he can't get on the field, and yet they're playing some bum named Mac Hollins, who they took in the 3rd round, I believe, who's a great special teamer. So the whole thing stinks.
It does.
All right?
And they had an opportunity to make a trade. They had an opportunity to put in a bid
for Josh Gordon. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And now here we are sitting. And
who's also no guarantee, though. Let's be fair.
No. But here's the thing. You need something. And the team, and this is why I blame Howie and the front office for more than just not getting a body. The team has put people in an unfortunate situation where they have to talk themselves through justifying the signing of Antonio Brown. Because this team has completely either neglected, or to your point about JJ in the draft, just missed I don't know what's worse, neglecting or flat out missing.
Okay, well, they missed on Mac Hollins. I don't know that they've officially missed with Ortega-Whiteside. He's been in the league for 9 games, okay? So
the fact that he can't get, okay, but
I agree, but I can't sit here and say through 9 games that a guy is an absolute bust.
No,
it's
no,
not
no.
looking good.
Okay,
And
you're right.
I'm amazed that he can't get on the field with given the
That's the
shortcomings
issue.
with the team. I give you that.
That's the issue.
But I can't sit here and say that he's, we throw him in the garbage. Just okay. That's a little early.
Okay, here's
he was
the
a
thing.
2nd-round pick. It's not like he was a 5th or 6th-round pick.
It's not so much that his career's over, but I think it's a major statement that he can't get on the field when this wide receiver core is so bad. And I guess the major statement I'm saying about JJ right now is that they're actually going out to try to bring people to play like Jordan Matthews, Dez Bryant, that would be higher. Like it's not even like a back end position. And and I also hear some people going out and being like, they need to get somebody that's better than Mac Hollins. They need to get somebody that's better than Mac Hollins.
Is Crabtree out there?
Listen, if
Yes.
all you're looking to do right now is to get somebody that's better than Mac Hollins, I think you're missing the point.
No, I agree. That shouldn't be that hard to find, though.
Yes.
Even on the scrap heap.
It shouldn't be that hard to find, but that doesn't equal, like, the team isn't a Mac Hollins replacement away.
No, you're right.
And I don't think there's anybody. Look, Crabtree's probably the fastest of the guys that we mentioned, but there isn't any burner out there.
I mean, what does Dez Bryant have left after the Achilles injury? And the fact that no other team, and there's other teams that could use wide receivers too, appears as even ringing his phone. So that should scare you, right?
Yeah, I think. Are you just at a point right now? Well,
Where you need a body?
Yeah, yeah. I think. Look, Deshaun Jackson. That situation moving forward. That situation now just is more about what this team should have done and now can't do because the trade deadline's gone, and you're looking at guys like Dez Bryant that you mentioned. So what happens now? What does bringing in, are they actually better off bringing in Dez Bryant or bringing in anybody other than Antonio Brown at this point? Or is it just,
Well,
hey,
Antonio Brown's a different
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Other than Antonio Brown. So
Right.
put him on ice for a second. But I'm curious.
He might be soon.
He might be. And he might be facing a suspension. You don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
I guess my question, Harry, to you, specifically to you in the text board as well, 609-403-0973, is does bringing in a guy who is maybe 3rd on your depth chart really doing anything at this point?
Well, 3rd on your depth chart only because he doesn't play the slot. Because when I'm looking at 3rd on the depth chart, I'm looking at it as he can be on the field with Alshon and Aguilar and actually be a guy where the quarterback might want to look his way and throw him the damn football. Okay? Because whether he's 3rd on the depth chart or 2nd, it doesn't really matter. As long as he's a guy that can get open and have the trust of the quarterback to throw him the ball. Because it doesn't seem like Carson has a whole lot of trust in Nelson Aguilar either.
No.
Okay?
And he threw another one to him on Sunday against the Bears that didn't end up well.
Right.
I think if you have, let's look at this through.
You know what I'm saying? Like
But if you have Alshon,
the place on the depth chart is sort of like positions in basketball. You know what I mean? Where it's like, well, you could say this guy, he's a 5, but he can really guard all positions, and it's sort of like positionless. Does it really matter if he's 3rd or 2nd or 4th? As long as he can get on the field and make a play.
Not even so much 3rd on the depth chart as like what would be the 3rd best or maybe 4th best receiver. I mean, you're splitting hairs maybe with Dallas Goedert, who you bring in at that point, but he's not.
Let's leave them out of it. Let's leave the tight ends out of it.
No, I mean, you have to throw. Okay, but to your point about,
because they're going to get throws.
Yes,
and make
but
plays.
to positionless receivers and to equate it to the NBA.
Are we going to put Miles Sanders out at wide out?
No, it's just a matter about who is a target.
He might not be a bad option.
That's what I'm saying. So if Miles Sanders is on the field, if Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar, Zach Ertz are on the field, then you want to bring in a 5th receiver. Is it Dallas Goedert or Dez Bryant at this point? That's my point in all of this. Are you really that much better of a team if you're arguing or splitting hairs over bringing in somebody that would be the 3rd,
if you work
at best 4th most likely option?
If you work the guy out and you decide he's good enough to bring in, right? Isn't it worth maybe deactivating Ortega-Whiteside and actually putting a guy in uniform ready to go that could actually maybe be called upon to get on the field and make a play? because the other guy's doing nothing, and Mac Hollins does nothing except special teams. They need another wide receiver.
I guess.
I mean,
but for what? That's the point. Like, is Alshon Jeffrey on one side and Des Bryant on another side able to move the football down the field? No, you're going to wind up throwing this Nelson Aguilar again deep down the field, and we know how that goes.
I don't know.
Zach Ertz is
I
going
don't
to
know,
have
but
to
I'm
be out
willing
there
to look
on
at
the field.
anything at this point, because now I don't think Deshaun will ever play again this season.
No, he won't.
I think he's cooked.
No, he won't play.
And that's what pisses me off about it, that this surgery could have been done in week 2, and he possibly could be gearing up to being back for a New England game or a Seattle game and going forward, and that pisses me off as a fan. That's all.
Okay.
And I can't take him totally off the griddle for it. I just can't.
No, I think ultimately the Philadelphia Eagles right now, I think people are looking at this whole thing with Deshaun and the wideouts, like bringing in a body is going to fix it. And I think it won't do anything more than apply a Band-Aid to a team that's not playoff bound, or at the very least playoff worthy, meaning they're going to do anything in the postseason.
Well, they could be playoff bound. I don't know. They
They're
get
not-
a
they're not
home
doing
game.
anything.
If they get a home game, they could win a home game, couldn't they? You're going to win the division. You're playing at home.
At this point, I think it's so far out that even if they got in, I'd have to examine where they are right now. Like, I don't know. Here's the thing: if they make the playoffs, I don't think they win that game, no matter where it is.
Really?
It
would be at home
moment.
because they're not getting in as a wild card.
Right.
We can pretty much be assured of that, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of what's going on in the NFC North, I think that, but I don't think at the moment, I don't think they win a playoff game. I don't think they're better than any of these teams that are in the playoffs right now. I mean, think about that. I get it. Like, Minnesota came here and they got their ass kicked 2 years ago, and it's tough to play at the link. But you know who didn't get their ass kicked? The team right before them, Atlanta. They almost won that football game outside of a bounce here or there.
Right.
I think if you have talent and if you're rolling, I don't even want to talk about the playoffs. My point of it is this. I think the biggest issue for people to be frustrated at today is something that can't be fixed in the next week. And that's what drives people to say, sign Jordan Matthews, sign Antonio Brown, sign anybody that you
because
can.
you don't want to give up on the season. You're 5-4 at the bye.
But fans didn't give up on the season. Howie Roseman gave up on the season by not look, if we're going to lay into Andy McPhail and Matt Klentak for not addressing where the Phillies were at the wild card spot, technically at the non-waiver deadline, then we should be laying into Howie Roseman equally as much.
Well, you know, there are similarities to that, in that the Phillies overvalued the 2, 3, 4 guys, or 3, 4, 5 guys, however you want to put them in their in their starting rotation from the beginning of the season, and they maintained that belief apparently, pretty much through the deadline. I mean, they got scrap heap guys. What's his name from the Mets? And they got that junk ball guy,
Vargas.
Smiley and
Yeah.
Vargas and all these slop guys, because that's
Right.
they didn't want to give up anything. They realized they probably weren't good enough, but we got to get something. Okay, you can look at it sort of like the Eagles. Like, hey, you realize that Mac Hollins isn't good enough. Aguilar's not giving you enough, and this other kid you drafted isn't ready yet.
Right.
So you should do something. They chose not to.
No, and now I think it's too late. It's too late. Like, you could have brought in...
Well, now especially because we know about the definitiveness of Deshaun.
Correct. Which, again, to the people that, like you, who are upset about Deshaun, you don't think Howie Roseman knew this? You don't think the front office... Like, do you really think the front office, Howie Roseman, was taken aback and taken by shock with the news that Deshaun would be out for the next 6 weeks? They knew that there was a real strong possibility that he would be back and either unable to go or delayed. And yet they did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They did nothing. And now I think what happens is people want to overcompensate. Oh, well, to your point about saving the season.
Well, it's overcompensating. You're not going to have to give up anything for anybody that you get now.
No, but I think that the expectation... Look, go out and sign whoever the hell you want. But don't expect Des Bryant to come in here.
No, I'm not.
I think that there is a mentality. Anybody who wants Jordan Matthews is expecting Jordan Matthews to come in here and actually do something.
And be like he was, 4 years ago?
I don't remember
it
how.
was.
6
He actually had a good year and a half. Or I don't know. I don't know, and I don't expect that. But I gotta figure that whoever they bring in and eventually sign, if they do, has to be able to give me more than a Hollins or an Ortega-Whiteside, and maybe even an Aguilar. Who knows?
Hopefully that guy can go downfield, because Des Bryant ain't going downfield.
No, I know.
Nor is Jordan Matthews. I hate to break it to you.
Jeez.
All right, 609-403-0973. Let's get to Brian and Cape May before we hit the text board. Brian, good afternoon, sir.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Great, Brian.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, there's just so many things.
Are you on a Bluetooth or speaker, or are you just distant from us?
I was on speaker. Is this better?
It sounds good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Howie's just been nothing but disappointment. I mean, first of all, he did absolutely nothing, with the Deshaun Jackson, and he knew. You guys just covered that. He absolutely knew we needed somebody. But how about our secondary? I mean, Darby has been toast all season long. Maddox, prior to the injury, was toast all season long. I don't even know what kind of effort, if any at all, he even made for Ramsey. So, I mean, what was it? It was 2 first-round picks, and everybody's saying that's too much. I mean, our secondary has been toast, and if you ask me, Penn State could score against that secondary. So
yeah, that kid number 1 could definitely score against the Eagles secondary right now, no doubt about it. But Maddox, to your point about Maddox is a slot corner or a safety. He's not an outside corner, and he had been playing some of those games because of injury out of position, and that's where he can't be an outside guy. But I think he's actually a decent player if you play him at the right position.
And then the other point is, do we need to question whether or not Jim Schwartz has to go or not? I mean, his schemes. I also think that's a big part of it. I mean, Jim got us the Super Bowl, but I really think that Super Bowl goes to one person, and that's Frank Reich.
Well, how do you out-scheme, though? I mean, to your point about needing bodies. Yeah, see, that's what I don't get, which is if you're going to say guys like Darby are toast and the secondary is getting roasted, and you're pointing to injuries and the reasons why this defense hasn't been, at the very least, healthy and then effective, how does that then fall on Jim to the point in which he's fired?
Right. I mean, his whole system, is predicated on his front four getting pressure. Okay, now should he bend and sort of adjust, given the fact that he obviously is sort of handicapped in that situation?
Right.
Okay, but then you're really putting that secondary on more of an island if you start sending guys. It's really, you can get burned that way. I don't know how much of this really falls on Schwartz, as it is just the guys who are healthy, just are not, like they had a defense last week, okay, because I think they realized it was sort of like chum in the water with Trubisky, where they were really just after it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That front four played with an energy.
They did.
And they were just, and every now and then they'd send a guy like the guy that they just picked
kid,
up
right,
from
Bama?
Cleveland. Yeah.
Didn't he go to Bama?
Avery.
Where did he go to school?
I forget. I knew you were going to ask me that. No,
Sorry.
Gennard Avery.
Memphis.
Avery. Yeah, Memphis.
Thanks,
that's
Josh.
right. They sent him one. Everything. They'd send other guys because they knew what they were up against in Trubisky. They were like, look, this guy isn't going to beat us. But if they're up against a really good quarterback, they're going to probably have to play that more cautiously, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like in a week and a half when Brady comes in here, you think they're going to be blitzing him?
No, I don't. Although, you don't know at that point. Like this offense, and again, it's one game against one defense, but the offense even in the second half, it didn't look dominant. But that's the thing. It's like, a guy will get you like 30 points, and then you look at the box score and you say, that guy had 30 points tonight? Yeah. That was the Patriots' offense. Right. Now, again, you look at the scoreboard, they got beat up. But they were able to move the ball, at least in the first half towards the end. They're able to move the ball in patches, and it was just these quick, small, little plays. It wasn't anything big.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if Jim Schwartz takes the opposite route and says, well, we know they're not going to go deep. We know that. I don't know. I mean, to your point, yes, you would think on the surface Jim Schwartz would not blitz Tom Brady at all, because there are going to be ways in which he's going to get the ball out as fast as humanly possible to Edelman, Michelle, or anybody, James White. But if you're healthy back there, And you know that you can add, like against Matthew Stafford. He blitzes the hell out of Matthew Stafford compared to everybody else.
Yeah, I know it does.
So I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is right now, but I'll say this to the caller's point about Jim Schwartz has to go at the end of the year. I don't know if I know we're not at that point where the blame to that extent, Harry, falls on Jim Schwartz. People can be frustrated all they want.
Yeah, I mean, there might be a sacrifice at the end of this year, and it might be a Mike Groh. You know, offense.
I think
still
Groh's going to be the first guy to go.
Right, that's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, did you see the play that Golden Tate made last night? It was
That
an
one
Odell
hit, yeah.
Beckham Jr. type of catch on the
Yep.
in the near the corner of the end zone, like around the 3 or 4 yard line. I was just like, whoa.
I don't know if he did it on purpose, but he boxed the cornerback out as he was catching the ball. I mean, it was amazing because not only was the grab exceptional, and you're right, it was like an ODB, just snatch it with one hand out, but the defender, the cornerback, had no ability, like there was no way he could make a play on the ball
Right.
because of how Tate's body was like positioned. It was awesome. That was an amazing catch.
It really was.
All right, on the text board, Yo Eitan, how's this for a bad beat? Hit 2 out of 3 on a parlay. Only loss had the over on the Sixers.
Wow.
223.5. Furcon Ben Simmons. Come on, man.
By a half a point, he lost.
Dave from Smithville.
Well, we're going to get to this
Oh.
with the Ben Simmons display last night.
And I actually had that. I thought that they would both. At 223.5, I thought that was a good number.
Yeah,
today.
Furcan gave you 20 last night.
Yeah.
He was 4 out of 7 from 3-point land. I think we might have to get ready to apologize.
No, see,
I don't know.
this is what happens when you break every basketball game down. Every single basketball game down. Talk to me in a week.
Okay.
Talk to me when Joel Embiid is healthy, the roster shrinks a little bit, like the rotation a little bit, and Furcan is not getting consistent minutes.
Right.
And is thrown out there missing shot after shot.
These minutes are very valuable as we try to grow a bomber.
I'm sure
Okay.
they are. I'm sure they are. Might be worth getting another wide receiver at some point in the case of another injury. Yeah, you would think so. I'm just saying if you're replacing a guy for injury or just adding another body, that's fine. But expectations of anybody out there coming in and either saving the season or just improving it noticeably, to me, is unfounded.
How bad could Greg Ward be? Is another question of mine. Is this just the arrogance of the front office saying, hey, we drafted the other guy. The other dude is an undrafted free agent. So we're going to play the guy we drafted until we absolutely just wring everything out of this stone that we possibly can and finally have to just punt. Or is it just the fact that Ward isn't that good either? And he's no better than...
Hollins, I was going to say two guys at once, Arthega and Hollins.
No, Hollins I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know.
How bad could he be?
We've seen this a lot where somebody shows up in the preseason. I mean, we haven't had any real play for Ward outside of the preseason.
Right. Which is where Arthega Whiteside shown.
Correct.
We were like, oh, yeah, that's not bad.
It looks like the only main difference is special teams.
See, I forgot Hollins' name already.
Because Hollins plays special teams. Greg Ward does not.
No, I know. Oh, I know. I hear that all the time.
Well,
that's the lament. That's the lament of all the coaching staff when they have to play a guy. Oh, he's special teams. He's so valuable in special teams.
Well, yeah,
okay.
That's the big thing.
All right.
You know?
Yeah.
All right, 609-403-0973 is the text board.
We got Lombo coming up at 1 o'clock.
We do. And Michael Caskey-Bullamane is going to join us at 1:30.
Okay.
Bring in anyone.
Oops.
Yep. Get to what you want to talk about with Ben Simmons and the Sixers as well. It looks like Eagles are playing 11 on 8 every week. Guys in the league that we never heard of are making catches every game, and our receivers can't catch a cold. Mike in Turnersville.
Not a bad
Whatever
point.
happened to Mike Wallace?
Yeah, where's he at? Can he still run?
Wonder what Roddy White is doing right now.
Roddy White.
Yes.
When was the last time he played?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's been a while. A long
A
time.
little bit. Defenses know that outside of Jeffrey, their wide receiver on the Eagles will barely get a look. They need to at least add a wide receiver to give the defenses something else to think about. Maybe J.J. Nelson. That's DJ from Tampa.
Is he available too? I thought he was on a roster.
You know what?
by the Raiders.
Yeah.
Oh, he was just cut?
Josh just let us all
The
know.
Raiders cut him?
Yeah, he's out.
Okay.
A while ago.
Not
A while ago.
So there you go.
Wow.
Somebody who was
See,
cut.
this is because I don't play fantasy. I'm not aware of all these fifth wide receivers floating around the league.
You want to see something here?
What? What do you got?
I finished second in my DFS contest.
Yeah.
All right, second out of like thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands. NFL 30,000 front
So
four.
you won money.
20 entry max. $1,500 for playing
Wow,
fantasy.
there you go.
It'll never happen again. But
Put that on the tax return.
do I have to? Is it over? It's over 1,000, so I have to claim it, right?
I don't know, man. It's part of your income.
I signed some form on one of those gambling apps.
Did you?
Listen, man, just stick. I'm the new fantasy expert in
Okay,
Philadelphia.
good. All right. I'm glad I gave the game up. I have no interest.
Break.
Oh man.
Break. Here,
15.
Jock. Break. Back after this.
You're listening to the Maze and Aton Show, presented by Dry Guys
man.
of South Jersey. Go to dryguysonair.com and get the help you need with your wet basement.
Back after this.
Dryguysonair.com.
South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey is 97.3 ESPN. Listen as Tim Saunders and Steve Coates call all the action right here on 97.3 ESPN. It's Flyers hockey tonight.
The Flyers host the Carolina Hurricanes. Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
Listen to Philadelphia Flyers hockey on South Jersey's Flyers station, 97.3 ESPN.
This season, the Eagles pregame starts at Dunkin'. DD Perks members score a $1 medium hot or iced coffee on Eagles game day. So don't just celebrate the Eagles from the sidelines. Head to Dunkin' and get a kick before the kickoff. Plus, DD Perks members get a $1 medium hot or iced coffee the day after every Eagles win this season. Just use your Perks enrolled Dunkin' card or show your loyalty ID. Eagles fans, run on Dunkin'. Excludes cold brew. Limit 1 per guest per visit. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Looking for a home improvement contractor? Look at experience. We've got 30 years under the same name. Very unusual in this business. Look at their strengths. We excel at indoor projects like kitchens and baths, outdoor projects like siding, windows, and doors, even entire additions. We've introduced products for national manufacturers and won awards for our work. Look at who does the work. With VSP, the owner and the foreman of 23 years are always part of the team. Look for fair terms. VSP asks for no more money down than the law allows in this area. Our pricing is never the lowest and usually not the highest. We deliver great value for the money. Looking for a home improvement contractor who will produce what they promise? Look to VSP Home Remodeling. Call Kevin Kennedy at 215-364-3286 or email him at
Who's in, who's
vsphome@verizon.net.
out at 3:15. 4 o'clock, Brett Mullen. 4:30, Kevin Kincaid.
Caring
5
is
o'clock,
help when you need
some
it
guy
most.
from the
And
AC
sometimes that
Press
means
on the
giving you more
Eagles.
control
And then
over
PT
your
at
decisions. The Care Cost
5:15.
Estimator
Dude, he's
from
got guests
Independence
every
Blue Cross
15 minutes.
helps you make the
from 3
choices
o'clock
that are
on.
right for you. It's just one more way
It's
to
like
help
Angelo in the
members
morning.
throughout the Philadelphia region make better, more informed healthcare choices. Because
4,
we believe
5,
caring is
6
help when you
guests
need it
or
most.
segments. Plus,
Independence Blue Cross. Learn more at ibx.com.
do you remember
This football
Soundgarden?
season, visit the Great
99
American
bottles,
Club, where you'll
whatever
find
that
good food, great times, and good football. Any way you like it. It all comes together at the Great American Pub. Catch the game at any of the 3 Great American Pub locations in Conshohocken, Wayne, and Phoenixville. Go to thegreatamericanpub.com. The Great American Pub, where good food, great times, and good football mean your weekends are covered from start to finish. The Great American Pub, the preferred location of the Maze and Aton Show. Make your next game out at the Great American Pub.
If you run a business in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Delaware, you're familiar with workers' comp insurance. Did you know Pennsylvania and New Jersey rates have dropped this year? Let Lighthouse Commercial Insurance help you take full advantage of the change. With 25 years of experience in the market, they are the most reputable and the most aggressive carriers. Give my friend Kevin a call at 800-691-1686. That's 800-691-1686. Or visit them online at lighthouse.ins.biz.
Covering Philadelphia and the suburbs with a tremendous history of great success in the real estate market, meet Kristen Thompson. A proud graduate of Villanova, Kristen has been in the real estate business for 20 years and specializes in buyers, sellers, and investors. You can call Kristen directly at the Keller Williams Realty Group, 215-429-2451, 215-429-2451. Kristen Thompson, your real estate advocate, who will work tirelessly on your behalf while ensuring the sale or the purchase is the easiest part of the process.
Tollman Joe's in the heart of South Philly is Tony Bruno's home on Eagles game day. And for those of you in Cape May County, Tollman Joe's in Wildwood is your football home every week in September. Tollman Joe's, where wings were created, wings were perfected, and where your football Sunday is set to begin this Sunday and every Eagles game day. Get to Tollman Joe's. Join me, Tony Bruno. I'll see you on game day at Tollman Joe's.
Everyone wants hot water, dependable and consistent. Choose Emax tankless electric water heaters, America's #1 tankless electric water heating solution for hot water. Contractors want the best solutions for their clients that will provide dependable hot water. For commercial kitchens to office buildings and high-tech manufacturers, contractors choose Emax. Emax is evolving hot water. Find Emax at distributors or online at emax.com. That's EEMAX.com.
Alabama's only ranked 7. Yeah. They're short.
I'm Steve Light, union electrician and proud military dad. When I worked as an ocean lifeguard, I rescued people who struggled to stay afloat. Today, many families struggle to keep their heads above water. I'm now running for Atlantic County Freeholder because we need to grow our economy and fix our roads. As a councilman in Absecon, I never voted for a tax increase because families need more money in their pockets. I'm Steve Light, and if you live in Absecon, Brigantine, Galloway, or Port Republic, I'd be honored to have your vote. Paid for by Steve Light for Freeholder, 413 South Shore Road, Absecon, New Jersey.
Nature Valley brings that satisfying crunch that gets your family going again, with real delicious honey and whole grain oats. So get out here. Nature Valley Oats and Honey Crunchy Bars. The original crunch.
You're listening to Mays and Aton with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
All right, so get to the text board in a second. Go out to the phone lines as well.
Found a new breakfast spot near my house today, Tom.
I saw you on Twitter opining about where you could find a new one, and somebody actually helped you out. Right?
Yeah, because I was whining like a bitch over the weekend because I tried to go to several places in Conshohocken and they were packed to the gills where the not the Mike Gills,
no,
but packed to the gill, where you couldn't even get in the lobby area to wait. It was out. You're out in the street.
Andy's?
Yeah, that place. Yeah. And another one on Fayette Street. So I'm like, man, we need
not Pudgy's.
We need a third place. No,
you going to Pudgy's?
No.
Do you remember Pudgy's?
No, I never went in there.
So there's a diner now called Eisenberg's.
Well, that's the 401, the old 401.
I went there. It used to be Pudgy's.
Okay, well, I went there when it was the 401, and I tried to go there this weekend when it was Eisenberg's, and that was packed.
Correct, because it's either Eisenberg's or Andy's.
Correct.
For the most part.
Until Nudi's opens up. There's a new place coming.
Right on the corner.
Near the big office building that they're putting in. Yeah.
So, did you know there was a rapper called Pudgy the Fat Bastard?
No, I did not know that.
See?
Is he from Conchi?
No. Although, there's a lot of rap history in... If you just Google Pudgy, now it's the T-H-A, fat, P-H-A-T.
Yeah.
But the reason why I bring this up is because, and I used to live in that area, and I used to walk by when it was Pudgy's.
Right.
All the time. And that's the only thing, there's no other Pudgy that I would ever associate with outside of Pudgy the Fat Bastard.
Or Pudge Rodriguez.
Yeah, but
a great catcher.
Correct.
Years ago.
But Pudgy, I always felt like is a fat person versus Pudge, which is like a nickname.
Yeah, well,
right?
You probably can't say Pudgy anymore. It's politically incorrect.
Is it?
Because it's fat shaming now.
Did they change their name?
That's probably why they changed the name.
To Eisenberg's.
Yeah.
Yeah, you figure out, you just make it sound like a Jewish deli and sell bagels, and anybody will show up.
Exactly.
That's it, right? You go from Pudgy the Fat Bastard to Eisenberg's Deli.
Yeah.
Now, did you see this story? I want to bring this up real quick after. we talk to John, who's in Cape May, who wants to talk about the Eagles. John, you're on with Harry and Nathan.
Hey guys, great show. We had Tin Can the Fat Man.
Tin Can the Fat Man. Now, who's that?
Now I knew another the Fat Man, but that's a whole
Right.
different life.
Now he's out west.
He's
yeah.
He was just a guy in the neighborhood. Everybody knows Tin Can the Fat Man.
Now, let me guess. Did he get that nickname for being overweight and kicking cans down the street?
I don't think calories was an issue.
Sounds good.
I got a question for
All right.
you. Who would want to beat up on the Patriots the most in the NFL? I mean, who has it out for the Patriots right now?
It'd be us.
I think a lot of people do.
No.
Well, Carson Wentz,
How about AB?
Antonio.
You're playing a dangerous game if you're going to bring a guy in just to beat another team.
Yeah, and plus he wouldn't be cleared by that game anyway because he's probably going to get suspended as soon if somebody signs him when they do. But I get your point. But I could say Carson Wentz because Carson never got his chance to beat them in that Super Bowl, and that was Nick Foles' Super Bowl. So you can make a case that Carson would really have it out to try to show, hey, I can beat the Patriots too.
Yeah, I never thought of that, but yeah,
You know?
I could make a case. But anyway, Tin Can the Fat Man, I hope he's doing good. I don't even know.
I like that. Tin Can, wasn't there a
Thanks,
show back in the day, 70s, 80s, something in the Fat Man?
Jake
and the Fat Man. Yeah, was that like a detective show?
Yeah.
Yeah. I never watched it, but I always remembered that name, like, and the Fat Man.
I think it was a pretty famous Fat Man. Right?
It wasn't the same guy from Cannon, was it? From back, remember that guy that played Cannon back in the 70s? Was the detective? Was
No,
he in the show?
I don't think so. But
yes, I think
it
that's the same guy. What? Give me his name.
J.L. McCabe is the guy's name, a.k.a. the Fat
No, that's
Man.
his character.
I know. I'm trying to find it out here for you. Starring William Conrad.
That's him. That's it.
So how many fat detectives did this guy
He
play?
was in
He was in The Fugitive, the television
the
show.
original one, the
Correct,
show.
correct.
Yeah.
Cannon, yes,
Yeah,
71
Cannon.
to 76.
What did I tell you?
Nero
Same guy.
Wolfe, and he was the district attorney, Jason Lochinvar.
Oh, yeah?
A.k.a. J.L. Fat Man McCabe.
I think I voted for that guy
Did
this
you?
morning. Yeah.
Is he running on a ticket? William Conrad. Born
Yeah.
as John. See, all right, here
Yeah.
we go.
How about that?
You know, this guy was a longtime radio host.
Really?
Yeah, he worked in radio for a while. He's somebody that we should know, especially being in this business.
Yeah,
He was
right.
on the CBS Radio Workshop.
Now, what did you speaking of this business? Not to get too distracted, but
Like
I couldn't
Princess?
avoid it yesterday. Yes, the Funhouse Twitter feed, which back after this, which I can't get enough of
Oh, so you're not talking about the latest news with him today that just happened?
today.
Yeah, he announced that he's retiring in December.
Oh, he is.
Yes.
Oh,
For the second time.
because of breaking wind on the air.
I
and then,
think so.
And then reading the headline in the Daily.
I think so, and it was Neil Best of all people that broke the news. So
Oh,
maybe,
yeah?
maybe he went back and let him know. But yes, so what happened yesterday?
Well, apparently, he does a morning podcast or like a video hit from his house. I guess he hits on the biggest topic in New York sports or in sports from the previous day. He does like a little vignette. It's sort of a tease, I think, for the radio show.
Okay. He's doing the radio show from his house.
He does that too, but this is during like when Boomer and Geo are on.
Okay.
He'll release this, and it's talking about whatever. It might have been Beltran being hired by the Mets yesterday. Who knows? But apparently during this little hit, people thought that he broke wind because there was a little sound around the 18-second mark that sounded like a fart.
Now,
Like,
this didn't go as viral as people who mistakenly thought Tom Brady said the N-word, right? Did you see that?
I saw some of that too. Yeah.
Okay.
Was that from Sunday Night Football?
Yeah,
Yeah.
More viral.
Was he caught on camera with like sort of mouthing something
No, of
that
course
looked like
not.
the N-word?
No,
or
of
what?
course not. It was just the way in which he said a phrase very fast sounded to some people on Twitter when they recorded it on their phone Like
So was
Tom
this at the
Brady
line of
said,
scrimmage?
No.
Like
No,
Omaha,
no,
he was
no.
going N-word?
No, like he walked in to,
I saw Ed Reed.
like he walked in and he was like, "Oh, that's my kryptonite." You know, every time they come out there, and he said a phrase that sounded like he said "my end."
Oh, with
to
Ed Reed.
Right, and of course he didn't say that. And if you listen to it a couple of times, you could tell it was just a phrase and not the term. But I digress because I was curious if people misheard
No.
or did he actually break wind?
Well, I listened to it back because I've got nothing else to do, in the afternoon. I'm sort of looking for the next day's content, and I stumbled upon this, and I listened to it. And it sounded like a fart. I mean, unless he's on some leather chair and he, resituated his rear end and it made a sound, as sometimes can happen on certain furniture. It sounded like it was legit. And if he goes into this minute and a half, 2 minute sort of explanation as to why that would never happen, and if it did happen, this isn't live, we edit this, it's recorded, so therefore the producer, and he named his name, I forget, would cut it out. And I'm thinking, would he? Because I think at this point, this once great, Mount Rushmore, the start of it all guy in our industry, who I used to look up to, has become a punchline over the last year and a half. And at some point, I think some of these producers might be just like, you know what, I'm gonna leave that in there, because they know, it
goes viral.
Viral, and it's like it's never gonna come back to me because he's gonna deny he ever did it anyway, right? I mean, he denies the next day picking the Giants, let's say, on Monday, and then I love the Cowboy. That's where he is in his life right now.
Or not knowing who Al Albuquerque was,
Right.
or not falling asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot right there.
I could
will
see
say-
if you were his producer, I could see you, you know what, I'm going to leave this in. He obviously broke wind. I'm going to keep it in there.
Is that the moment where you think his ultimate vulnerability shows, and he's just thinking, all right, now I become a laughing stock? Or?
Now, it's been a while, but maybe it just dawned on him that now he's breaking down his own farts on the radio.
I'll say this.
It was like Ace yesterday blowing wind on me.
Yeah.
That was not the biggest fart of the day. It was Francesa's.
It was, and shame on us for not knowing that. We could have easily segued that in there. Unbelievable. We had a gem and we missed it. And then the day after, he announces he's retiring in December.
Now, he's done this before.
Correct.
You know?
And they made such a bad mistake that they had to basically drag him back, beg to bring him back.
Crazy.
I don't know. I don't know if it even happens at this point. Who knows? December's a long ways away.
No, I know. And, a lot can happen, as in the NFL, too. But there's also National Donut Day. I see you got the Fox 29 Twitter feed. They got a bunch of Krispy Kreme donuts pictured.
So they tweeted a story, Krispy Kreme reverses course, allows Minnesota student resale service. I don't no idea. They've reached an agreement with a Minnesota college student who drove to Iowa every weekend
to buy Krispy Kremes
and then
resell them.
Right,
okay.
Right. That is entrepreneurship at its best.
But I know that the Sports Bash, I think, has another poll question up about the donuts, and Josh weighed in, I believe. I gotta verify this to make sure, because I don't want to throw him under the bus if it's not right.
Well, let's do that when we come back.
I'll check that out during the break.
Dan from EHT, it's the reality of the entire NFL. What do people want? Emmitt Smith, Jerry Rice, and Randy Moss. It's not realistic. Eagles have a really good running back duo and great tight end duo. Go Birds. Jack is never a factor in the playoffs anyway. He is too small, and corners get away with physical play in the playoffs. That is a very good point.
Who's he talking about?
Deshaun Jackson. So you need more. Deshaun's a great regular season guy to get you there, and clearly a special talent, but we've seen that in the playoffs before. Rick and EHT, not Dan and EHT. Hopefully the ineptitude of the wide receivers this season forces the Eagles to put an emphasis on the position this offseason. They did the last 3 years, and look what's happened. It's baffling to me, this is back to Rick, that they seem to not value the position. They need to upgrade through trade or free agency because their draft evaluations in that position has been pitiful. Look, we know that. Dan, Rick, pardon me, you know that. Everybody knows that. That's the problem, is that it's too deep of an issue now to just say, go out and draft or go out and sign. They had those opportunities. Hell, they have gone out and drafted, and look where we are. trying to sign Des Bryant to make up for the fact that the 3 guys they've taken in the first 3 rounds or 4 rounds of a draft have amounted to not much. Des Bryant's had a better career than all 3 of these guys combined. And he's not doing squat for this team. Japan tested out a 4-day work week. Guess what's going on in Japan?
Oh, yeah?
Yep, I'll tell you that when we get back.
4-day work week.
It's a 4-day work week. And guess what's going on in Japan? Also, I have got to the bottom
Yeah,
of the
I've got.
All right, we'll do that. Coming up next. Back after this.
Listen to Maze and Aton anywhere.
You serious, Clark?
Download the 97.3 ESPN mobile app
Sonny
now.
Bill Williams.
97.3ESPN.com/app. Coming up on the next edition of the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Coming up, we'll look at options for the Eagles without Deshaun Jackson. Football at 4 with Johnny Mack. Who's in, who's out, 3:15. We'll recap the Sixers night in Phoenix. And it's a Tuesday with Thompson with the PT at 5:15. Plus, we'll have more details on this year's 99 Bottles Party.
The Sports Bash, weekdays from 2 to 6 on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
I am so ready for football season, are you? You better be college with a huge day on Saturday, pro football on Sunday. Make sure you bet with the best. My guys at the #1 casino in Pennsylvania, Parks Casino and Sportsbook. My guys at Parks Casino and Sportsbook have it all in person or online. Download the Parks Casino Sportsbook app right now in the App Store. Go to parkscasino.com.
And on Instagram, too. In fact, I ordered a pair of shoes for
SWEET,
Instagram. I finally broke down and bought something
SWEET,
off
to get a
Instagram.
risk-free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit. ParksCasino.com/PA. Again, PARX Casino.com/PA. And use promo code SWEET to get your risk-free bet of up to $250. Parks Casino.
Oh, I thought you meant like something. That's what I was like that.
They promote ads.
And then it brought you to like Amazon or?
Even line in-game betting.
Amazon.
Sign up now. Get a risk-free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit.
Like this.
Promo code
Yeah.
SWEET. Get your risk-free
Something like
bet of up to $250. Risk-free bet is refunded on the loss as a free bet. You must be in Pennsylvania. You must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Beautify your home for the holidays with Tom Adams Windows and Carpets. Tom Adams Windows and Carpets is offering free installation on all hard surfaces, vinyl, tile, laminate, and hardwood. Save on Pergo, Mohawk, Mannington Redwood Plus, Armstrong, and Cortec flooring. Get your home ready for Thanksgiving with a beautiful, durable, pet-proof Pergo Extreme or Cortec floor. Find out why Tom Adams Windows and Carpets has won more national awards in the past 3 years than any other contractors in the tri-state area. Check out their 3 large designer showrooms, plus get free measurement. Tom Adams is also offering 12-month financing. New Synchrony accounts get a $100 Visa
Ryan
card
Rothstein
rebate with
said
purchase.
glazed
See store
donuts.
for all the details.
Jeff Mosher
Hurry in
chocolate
because this free hard
frosted.
service installation
Jill
sale
apple
ends November
cinnamon.
13th. Find out
Apple
more at
cinnamon. Goes with
TomAdamsWC.com.
what? Life cereal, right? Did he have Life?
Yeah.
And he has Jaws. And what was the other
There are so
thing that
many
he had?
choices when it comes to selecting
Radiohead?
your financial
Yes.
institution. Start with the Philadelphia Federal Credit Union. We're right here in your city. We're also
And
the official
Joshua
credit
Jelly.
union of Temple University, and anyone who lives, works, worships, and studies in Philadelphia can open an account. We're member-owned
What?
and
What?
offer all the services
Jelly.
you're looking for, like mobile banking and free ATM withdrawals. Visit our website at pfcu.com. We're not here for our profit, here for yours. Federally insured by NCUA.
Wet basement or nasty crawl space? Dry Guys is your answer for basement, crawl space, and foundation problems.
How much time do we have?
30 patented products, including unique insulation packages and great warranties, too. Family-owned Dry Guys has been providing peace of mind for over 30 years to homeowners just like you. So what are you waiting for? Call 844-470-4808, 844-470-4808, or visit DryGuysOnAir.com. Take the first step. You'll be glad you did. Go to DryGuysOnAir.com.
If you run a business in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Delaware, you're familiar with workers' comp insurance. Do you know Pennsylvania and New Jersey rates have dropped this year? Let Lighthouse Commercial Insurance help you take full advantage of the change. With 25 years of experience in the market, they know the most most reputable and the most aggressive carriers. Give my friend Kevin a call at 800-691-1686. That's 800-691-1686. Or visit them online at lighthouse.ins.biz.
We still have the Black Landmark Americana in Glassboro for what will be a great football experience, a great life experience, or anything you want to be experience. The Landmark Americana.
Probably do that after Lambo because he covers the Giants. That'll segue into the game.
And South Jersey's football homes every Eagles game day. Landmark Americana. You'll know it when you get there, and you'll always remember it when you leave. Go to the Landmark
Apple
Americana
cinnamon
in
donuts.
Glassboro
Now that
this
goes
football
together with
season.
Life cereal,
Who knows who you'll see?
Radiohead, and Jaws.
It's a lifetime of memories and a stable future. Vince Mazzillo and John Armato understand that. They know how much seniors depend on staying in their homes. And they know that for too many seniors, rising property taxes put that at risk. Which is why Vince Mazzillo and John Armato worked together in the state assembly to freeze property taxes for seniors, making it easier for Atlantic County seniors to stay in their homes. And Mazzio and Armato worked to lower the cost of prescription
Motion
drugs.
sense KJ
Vince Mazzio
Antler.
and John Armato are making it easier for families in Atlantic
It says,
County
with the 18th pick of the 2020 draft, the Eagles select Penn State's KJ Antler.
They won't respond to tweeting Tyrone.
and respect, which is one more
Say what?
But he won't respond about tweeting Tyrone.
Paid for by Mazzio and Armato for assembly.
Got a couple Cape May calls
New
today.
Jersey 08225. You may not notice it's a protein bar. Dark chocolate and crunchy peanuts will do that. Plus, they'll get your family moving again. Nature Valley Peanut Butter Dark Chocolate Protein Bars.
This is Mays and Aton with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
I saw this from our pal Zach Rosenblatt, at Zach Blatt on Twitter. Not
Now,
Zach
that
Blatt
is-
in real life, it's Zach Rosenblatt.
Right, but is that the Zach Blatt splat of the game, Merrill?
Ooh, that's not bad.
Yeah?
That's not bad. What's the name of the thing?
It's Matt Blatt, I think. It's a car dealer or something.
I thought, it's Matt Blatt Kia. Now,
Right.
wait a second. Is
That's
that the same?
Zach Blatt splat of the game, Merrill.
No, wait a second.
Huh?
I don't think Matt Blatt Kia sponsors the splat of the
Well,
game.
I'm telling you, there was some car dealer named Blatt that sponsored the splat. Maybe they still don't. I don't know.
Hold on a second.
Just read whatever
No.
you're going to read.
Matt Blatt splat, right? Is that what you're saying?
Splat of the game was obviously a big hit. Yeah, see, Merrill
Just
reads-
waiting on the Matt Blatt auto sales splat of the game.
See?
Now, what the hell is a splat?
A splat is just like, a smack. Somebody got, really, he got jacked up.
Okay, but you don't use splat, like nobody got splatted.
No.
It's never used in the past tense, right? Or
No.
splat. Like there's no past tense for splat, correct?
No, I don't think so.
That's why I'm out on
I
that.
think you're taking it a little too seriously.
I'm out.
It was a little bit tongue-in-cheek. You know what I mean? They're trying to make it sound
I'm out.
the same. All right,
I think
where are you going?
Matt Blatt deserves better.
Where are you
Don't-
going with Zach Blatt?
Al
He
Sh-
definitely deserves better.
He does. Zach Rosenblatt deserves better than what he got in this segment. Alshon Jeffrey's on pace to lead the Eagles wide receivers with just 661 yards. Would be the fewest for a leading wide receiver since Todd Pinkston.
Wow.
In 2003 with 575.
Now, do you know that this DK Metcalf, who I'm now enamored with, who was drafted a few slots behind J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, the kid out of Ole Miss, is just 2 yards behind Zach Ertz in total yards receiving. And Ertz leads the Eagles in receiving yards, and he has 5 touchdowns.
Metcalf does.
Yes.
Yeah.
How's that for some production?
It's amazing to see that. It's almost like all they needed was 1-2 wide receivers to throw to.
Well,
and-
Lockett's a stud.
Absolutely. But Metcalf has really come up as well. Look, that's what won me all that money this weekend, was pairing Russell Wilson, Lockett, and Metcalf.
Right.
And watching Metcalf go to work, whereas Lockett's built in. Look, that's the Seahawks are better now, I think, overall. Look, It's a little different than when they won the Super Bowl.
Legion of Doom. They were defense and quarterback.
I think they're better. Look, Russell Wilson, I think at this point,
he's unbelievable.
Is playing better football than he did when they won the Super Bowl.
You could make a case.
And the offense is the offense more dominant now than their defense was back then? Probably not.
No, I can't make that case.
However, when you're playing in a league where you need to be way more consistent and better on offense than you are on defense, that's where I think I'd give the edge to this team. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett,
Carson, the running back.
Will Dissly got hurt.
Right, the tight end.
Before he got hurt, he was playing better than Zach Ertz.
No, you're right. You're right. All right, now do you have more text, or do you want me to hit this poll question?
I want you to hit the poll question. We'll get to the text board. Matt Lombardo will join us in the text.
All right, it's National Donut Day, apparently. And the Sports Bash, at 973 ESPN on Twitter, says, today's Sports Bash pop culture poll question is, what's your go-to donut? Now, take a guess.
What does that mean, pop culture question?
It's something they've been doing. We did a couple of these. We've gone over a couple of these. They've been doing this each and every day for about 2 weeks now.
Why not just bring it up?
Can you guess what Gil's go-to donut is?
All right. Josh, let me ask you this before I even answer that question. When's the last time you've actually eaten a donut?
Years?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Josh's is jelly.
That's what I'm saying. So this whole poll, it relies on people that haven't been eating this.
Oh, I guarantee you Gil eats donuts.
I guarantee you Rothstein and Josh don't. And Jeff, every now and again, dabbles into the world of a donut.
Well, Moshe dabbles with a chocolate frosted. That's a pretty quality item, I gotta say.
I mean, that's like, I think that Alabama's going to win the national championship.
Apple cinnamon. Apple cinnamon. Josh's
That's
are jelly.
disgusting. Apple cinnamon is disgusting.
I would buy a 12 mix pack for doctors sometimes when I take them in. I would take the jelly donuts out and throw them in the trash.
I'd buy a box of apple cinnamon donuts and break them right in front of Gil.
Beautify your home for the holidays with Tom Adams Windows and Carpets. Tom Adams Windows and Carpets is offering free installation on all hard surfaces: vinyl, tile, laminate, and hardwood. Save on Pergo,
Hi, I just missed a call.
Redwood Plus,
For Ace?
and Cortex flooring. Get your home ready
I'm not sure. There wasn't a voicemail back.
Proof Pergo Extreme or Cortex floor. Find out why Tom Adams Windows and Carpets has won more national awards in the past 3 years than any other contractor in the tri-state area. Check out their 3 large designer showrooms, plus get free measurement.
That's
Tom
this
Adams is also
Thursday?
offering 12-month financing. New
Is there a way that I can reschedule that? I have not an emergency, but I work issue that I have to change
because
this
this free
week.
hard
I
surface
thought it was next
installation
week.
sale
Sorry.
ends November 13th. Find out more at TomAdamsWC.com.
Can we do it the following week, same time?
This football season, visit
Do you have
the Great
anything,
American Pub, where you'll find good food, great times,
What about,
and
and
good
there's nothing
football.
evenings, right?
Any way you
What about
like
early
it.
mornings?
It all
Do you have
comes together
anything
at the
next
Great
week,
American
early
Pub.
morning?
Catch the game at any of the 3 Great American
Thanks.
Pub locations in Conshohocken, Wayne, and Phoenixville. Go to thegreatamericanpub.com. The Great American Pub, where good food, great times, and good football mean your weekends are covered from start to finish. The Great American Pub, the preferred location of the Maze and Aton Show.
What about
Make your next game out at the Great
instead of
American
tomorrow
Pub.
late, what about tomorrow really early? Or Wednesday or Thursday, like Wednesday or Thursday this week early.
On the job, your family is injured as well.
Thanks.
Turn to a firm of legal attorneys that can help, that care, and that you can count on. Go to injuredworkers.com from Malamut and Associates. Nobody plans to get injured. When it happens, you need
anytime up
injuredworkers.com.
until
Get the help you need from
10:30.
injuredworkers.com. Go to injuredworkers.com right now.
Dry Guys of South Jersey wants to know if you have sticking doors and windows. If so, it could be a foundation problem, and this family-owned business wants to help. They use over 30 patented products and warranties that will repair bowing and will replace cracked and leaky foundation walls. If your home is settling, Dry Guys will give you a lift. Call 844-470-4808, 844-470-4808, or visit dryguysonair.com. Take the first step. You'll be glad you did. Go to dryguysonair.com. This season, the Eagles pregame starts at Dunkin'. DD Perks members score a $1 medium hot or iced coffee on Eagles game day. So don't just celebrate the Eagles from the sidelines. Head to Dunkin' and get a kick before the kickoff. Plus, DD Perks members get a $1 medium hot or iced coffee the day after every Eagles win this season. Just use your Perks enrolled Dunkin' card or show your loyalty ID. Eagles fans, run on Dunkin'. Excludes cold brew. Limit 1 per guest per visit. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff, brought to you by the Wound Care Clinic of South Jersey and Jersey Shore Medical Alliance.
I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update. Here's a simple way to boost our intake of iron and cook a little healthier. Use cast iron. Cooking with cast iron allows this nutrient to be absorbed into the food we are cooking. Years ago, cast iron pans were the only option in cookware. Today, we have many types of non-stick pans, but cast iron is making a comeback. It's easy to get crispy veggies without relying on excess oil. Cast iron pans are simple to clean and nearly as elastic as any other non-stick pan, as long as you season them. Cast iron pans.
You see the text board talking about grilling the donuts?
No, I don't see the text board. Aton has it on his phone.
Distribute heat easily, and they can be moved between oven and stove. Sometimes
Something good?
milk isn't always better. The old cast iron skillets are still a great healthy cooking choice.
Yeah, one person says, I will send me donuts.
Brought to you by the Wound
As
Care
we
Clinic of
post
South
on
Jersey.
my dating
Expert care with compassion.
Yes,
And Jersey
people
Shore
remember.
Medical Alliance Sports
Another
Medicine
text
Extra.
says, Joe's favorite donut is double cheeseburger with delivery solutions like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. We'll also have a dolphin chatter excitedly. You should save them for the final segment.
Yeah, when he's there. Yeah, save him for the final segment.
Why? It won't carry over on the show or anything like that.
They'll hear it.
Yeah, but it's just lost. It's lost on the whole bit is to bring stuff up to carry out throughout the day.
Right.
And it just dies.
Oh, by the way, the sports guy is coming up next. Speaking of that,
It won't matter. I'm telling you, it dies. It dies on the vine. We've done that for
Yeah,
months.
start the show with Furcane Court Laws.
Some of the area's best football programs, including Ron Jaworski and the Philadelphia.
I try, man. I wonder if they keep the rumors heat up now again about Sid Rosenberg replacing Francesca.
Is he allowed back and enter?
What's that? Is he still allowed back? He says they call him all the time.
For more information, go to audibleforautism.org. Audible for Autism, changing children's lives one touchdown at a time. Audibleforautism.org.
The radio home of Carson Wentz, Carter Hart, and Joel Embiid. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ-HD, Millville, Atlantic City. The Jacob Media Sports Network, in partnership with 97.3 ESPN, brings you the Mays and Aton Show with Harry Mays and Aton Shander. Now, it's the Midday Show with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN Radio.
All right, so the Giants humiliated at home in the second half last night.
Well, really the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That was 16-15 going to the fourth.
Okay.
Okay, I mean it was. And then then it was over.
It was a terrible performance in the fourth quarter. Good performance in the first half.
Yeah, but again, too many field goals, no touchdowns. They were awful in the red zone. Just terrible.
Giants.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Terrible.
look, the Cowboys weren't stellar either.
No, especially off their bye.
Correct. I think that was the biggest question mark, is just what was going to happen following the bye week for Dallas. It took a little bit, but those primetime games always take a while to kind of get going, or they blast out and then slow down. It's really rare that you get that same pacing throughout the game. So what's going on in New York? What's the latest with Pat Shurmur? How does this impact the NFC East? Matt Lombardo joins us at Matt Lombardo NFL on the Lighthouse Insurance guest line. Matt, what's going on, brother?
Come on, boys. How are you?
You've got breaking news or inside information? How should we treat this?
I would say that the speculation about how hot the seats are underneath Pat Shurmur and defensive coordinator James Bettcher could begin, especially depending on what happens on Sunday against the Jets, because you look at what the Jets did on Sunday, and Sam Darnold had a terrible game, and all of a sudden Daniel Jones and the Giants walk up and say, hey, hold my beer. And that's basically what happened in that fourth quarter last night. So we talked about this before, but I think the litmus test for this Giants coaching staff and really the trajectory of the franchise is Sunday afternoon against the Jets.
Yeah, how about that? The Battle of New York with the Jets and the Giants.
So they lose to the Jets. Both guys are out. DC's out. How do you see this?
Yeah, I would. Let's put it like this. I don't think that the Maras want to go through the humiliation of firing a head coach in the middle of the season, even if you look at the regression of Daniel Jones over the last couple of weeks, and you look at some of the failures in the second half and a lot of the play calling decisions. I mean, Harry, you brought it up. You alluded to the red zone struggles. They were 1 for 5 in the red zone, and 3 times on 4th and less than 5 from inside the 15-yard line, they kick field goals.
Yeah.
That's just not good enough. You look at I don't know that Saquon Barkley is fully healthy. He certainly runs a lot more hesitantly than he did before the injury, and certainly more so than last year. But the amount of designed runs up the middle into the teeth of that Cowboys defense with an offensive line that couldn't get any push, these are all things, in addition to Daniel Jones leading the league in turnovers, that make you scratch your head and wonder what Pat Shurmur is doing, and whether or not he's just overmatched as a play caller and a head coach. But I think what's more likely is if the Giants lose to the Jets, who just lost to a team that was built to lose, by the way. The front office is trying to lose in Miami. If they lose this game, it would not surprise me if James Bettcher is fired and made the scapegoat for this would-be 2-8 start with 6 consecutive losses.
Yeah, right. I mean, I was texting with Lombo last night during the game. I was really into it. And, I'm watching this team, get that interception right out of the gate. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're kicking a field goal, and it's like 4th down, and you're inside the 5-yard line. You're 2 and 6. You're going nowhere. Why don't you go for it? Try to get a touchdown. Try to call something, creative in the red zone. And it just doesn't happen. And then it happened 2 or 3 more other times, and I'm like, what is Shurmur thinking? Has he been told? I'm thinking like he's coaching like he's been told, by the owner. No matter what, you finish 2 and 14, you're coming back.
Yeah, Harry, that's an interesting theory. And just on that sequence alone, I think the word I used on Twitter and to you was gutless.
Yes.
You're 2 and 6. It's a Monday night game. I've been on this beat now for close to 2 years, and that was as energized a building as I've seen MetLife over that time. They handed out rally towels. It was kind of a playoff atmosphere. A lot of Cowboys fans in the building, so it was kind of contentious. You get the turnover. If you score a touchdown there, it sends the crowd kind of into euphoria. It sets the tone, and that's a first-place team you're playing. And you could strike early and set an early tone, and they didn't do that. So that scenario, I think, kind of epitomizes what Pat Shurmur has been as a play caller ever since last year. But the bigger picture, and we talked about this a lot in the press box afterwards last night, it's almost as if he's coaching, and you can look at that sequence. You can look at having Daniel Jones air it out on the final play of the first half, and you wind up giving Dallas a chance to drive down the field and take a 12-9 lead into halftime. It's almost as if he's not coaching to win games, but rather coaching to get Daniel Jones and these young players experience. And I just think that's counterproductive because you're creating poor habits. Sit on the ball, kneel down on 3rd down, go into the locker room with a lead. That's why you deferred. You're getting the ball to start the second half anyway. Mm-hmm. It just seems as if he's not coaching to win these football games. And anytime you mentioned how does this impact the NFC East, you look at the Giants and you look at the Eagles now without Deshaun Jackson, it's really feeling like a one-team division race. And the Eagles, their schedule gets a lot tougher now. You still have to play Dallas again. You have to play New England. You have to play Seattle. That's the teeth of their schedule coming up. And the Cowboys seem like they're taking care of business and beating the teams that they need to beat at home or away. And I think they're going to be tough to catch in this division.
How lucky is Pat Shurmur, the entire coaching staff, that Adam Gase lost to the Dolphins? They win. Maybe that seat is even hotter, right? Maybe you don't come on today and say, well, I found out that seat's actually hotter. Maybe this is a conversation going on Sunday night, Monday morning.
Yeah, I guess, but I guess the flip side is the fact that they lost, that the Dolphins beat the Jets, it just puts all the more pressure on Pat Shurmur and the coaching staff, because had the Jets taken care of business, then I think you feel like, okay, you both go into this game with 2 wins. You have a first-year quarterback. They're starting to find their first-year head coach, rather. They're starting to find their way with the Jets, and I don't think it carries as much of a stigma or an embarrassment that would be carried if you lose to that team after they lost to the Dolphins. So I think the seat, if they lose, I think the seat under Betcher and Pat Shurmur both heat up exponentially next week. And you got to think about it. You're going into the bye week, so if you're going to make any sort of coaching change, that would be the time to do it.
Yeah, you talk about Betcher, the defensive coordinator, maybe being made a scapegoat. I'll tell you, I mean, there was wide open wide receiver. Everybody was wide open. It looked like the Big 12, Lombo, when Dallas was sort of running plays, Amari Cooper and et cetera. This Ogletree guy is one of the worst linebackers I've ever seen in pass coverage. And Jenkins, how about the effort Jenkins didn't give on the one where the tight end ran all the way down the sideline towards the end of the first half?
Yeah, the Blake Jarwin touchdown.
Yeah.
I just hopped on Twitter before coming on the show. It was a business decision. And a couple of Giants fans came at me and said, oh, you're just trying to be quirky and clever, to call that tackle a business decision. And really, it's insulting to tackles to call what Janoris Jenkins did trying to tackle somebody. And I just think that he didn't want to, risk any sort of injury there. You're right about Alex Ogletree. He's one of the worst linebackers in the league in coverage. I'm not sure that he could cover you or Aton at this point in his career.
I got a bad ankle, though, Lombo. He might be able to stay with me.
He might be able to, right? Especially if there's some acorns that make their way onto the field.
Exactly. Hey, there was a black cat. There might be acorns.
That's right.
There might be. But you look at the secondary, right? And DeAndre Baker, kid they traded up into the first round to take, and admitted after the game he doesn't know the playbook. You're 9 weeks into your rookie season. You've started 9 games, and he says he doesn't know the playbook, needs to do a better job of knowing the plays. And on the 45-yard Amari Cooper touchdown, he was playing zone coverage while
it was man-to-man.
Playing the man-to-man.
Yeah.
So you look at that, and you just scratch your head. And I know that Betcher doesn't have the talent that he had in Arizona. The Honey Badger isn't walking through that door. Patrick Peterson isn't walking through that door. And you're starting, 2 rookies now in your secondary. You have a 41-year-old safety in Antoine Bethea. And your front seven, your linebacking core might be the worst linebacking core in the NFL. I get it. You don't have the talent. But they're not getting any pressure on the quarterback. They're not covering on the back end. And they're making the same mistakes. And if your rookie corner who you're starting doesn't know the playbook, that's as much of an indictment on the coaching staff as it is on the player. So, again, if they lose to the Jets, I don't think they yank the cord on Pat Shurmur. I think that those conversations grow louder behind the scenes. But I wouldn't be shocked in the least if James Betcher is fired next week.
Wow, that's pretty interesting to see this thing here. What is the goal for the New York Giants this year? Because you see tanking.
Develop the quarterback.
Yeah, but at what cost? Because you do want the best available draft pick. And I'm not saying they're going to bench Daniel Jones by any means, Lombo, but winning a game or two in the second stretch here of the season doesn't help your cause.
Yeah, it's all about developing Daniel Jones. Harry's right. And I think the big concern, and I wrote about this after the game last night, is he seems to be regressing. I mean, the highlight reel type of throws, you can say it was a great throw, and it was. That Golden Tate made that circus catch on near the sideline. And he made a great audible pre-snap on the touchdown pass to Cody Latimer pre-snap. But the interceptions, there was a terrible decision, and it was against shell coverage on the pick at the end of the first half that we talked about. And a couple weeks ago against Arizona, Patrick Peterson said they played shell coverage all day. He had no idea what to do against it, just as he struggled against it against the Patriots. So the decision-making isn't there. The ball security isn't there. It's the second time in 2 games that he lost a fumble that was returned for a touchdown. So the only thing that matters, it isn't about wins and losses. It's about developing Daniel Jones. And the reason why I think the criticism of Pat Shurmur is going to grow louder is he's not getting better. He's not the same quarterback that we've seen. Yes, he had a couple nice design runs and RPOs and zone reads last night, but he just isn't the same player that we saw in Tampa Bay in his first start. He seems to be getting worse, and I think that's troubling for the Giants.
Yeah, a couple of losing games on purpose, man.
A couple of things about him, though, that I noticed. I haven't seen him a lot, but I watched a lot of it last night. He's tough. And he took a lot of hits last night, and he just gets right back up. He keeps his eyes down the field. He shows a lot of flashes, but like you said, and he's athletic, the turnovers. I mean, can that be coached out of this kid at this point by this staff?
Yeah, Harry, I think that's the $100 million question. It determines what this franchise is going to be for the next decade plus. I'm with you. He's athletic. He's mobile. He's obviously a kid who's going to be aggressive, almost to a fault. He's certainly a gunslinger. But I don't know. And we look around the league, right? You look at Arizona last year, Steve Wilkes and Josh Rosen, they got rid of both of those guys. When Jared Goff didn't progress after his rookie year, the Rams whacked Jeff Fisher. Last year, Todd Bowles got fired after starting Sam Darnold. So if this staff doesn't get progress, I wrote about this last week. You can't hold on to Pat Shurmur and this staff just for the sake of saving face. You need to do what's best for the franchise and best for the quarterback. And if Jones doesn't get better, if you don't feel like you're heading in the right direction, I don't think you can bring him back, bring Shurmur back. If that's the case, you need to find a head coach who will get the most out of Daniel Jones and speed up his development. And right now, it seems like he's going in the other direction.
Well, so is Darnold. You brought up Darnold. He's going in the wrong direction too.
That coach is even worse than Shurmur.
Yeah.
All right,
let's. I agree, and I think that Adam Gase could be fired if he loses to the Giants, and I think there's a better chance if he gets fired if he loses Sunday than Pat Shurmur does, because obviously you take Sam Darnold, you look at what he did last year, and you look at just how inept he's looked the last 2 weeks, and people mock the seeing ghost comment and all that, but it's kind of a common football term. The fact that he's still seeing ghosts against the Dolphins, and he's still not able to diagnose pressure, and he's having the snap go over his head, and what the hell was he thinking of that interception? The fact that all of these things are happening, again, we talked about DeAndre Baker and James Bettcher. That's as much of an indictment of Adam Gase as it is of Sam Darnold, that he's not improving and not overcoming some of these issues.
Who's the most famous ghost of all time?
Oh, it's got to be Casper, right?
Bill Cosby, Ghost Dad. That's got to be top 3.
How about Casper, the tight end from the Raiders back in the day from Notre Dame?
Ghost to the post. Wasn't that the play?
But that was in the AFL or AFC playoffs against the Colts.
See, I think Ghost to the post.
Red Grange, right?
Red Grange.
That was the Galloping Ghost.
Correct, correct. That's not the same play as Ghost to the post. That's Ghost to the post is more iconic.
Come on, man.
Well, okay. Well, I think Casper drops below Ghost to the post and Ghost Dad.
Yeah, you might be right about that.
What about Ghostbuster?
Although he's had a little bit of a resurgence with those cheesy commercials, right?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
yes, they're back. I forgot about that. Good call on that. Do you need? Hey, Lambo, before you get out of here, do you need any fantasy advice? I am now the new self-proclaimed fantasy expert in the Delaware Valley after coming in second in my DraftKings tournament.
Hey, Don, I'm 9-0 in my regular season league. I don't need your advice.
Wait a second. Hold on a second. You're still playing the yearly league? That's like telling me you don't need any advice on how to use a cell phone because you have a rotary phone.
That's all right. In the Dynasty League we've had since high school with a bunch of high school friends. You carry the same roster every year, only draft rookies, and I built a roster that is 9-0 this year and could run the league for some time.
When you want to step up to real money and real stakes and get away from the yearly stuff and hit some DFS things, I'm here for you, brother.
All right.
Get me involved. Get me the invite.
There's no invite. I just signed up. Listen, I signed up. I played a couple of guys. Next thing I know, I finished second amongst like 50,000 people.
Good for you. You won $1,000.
1,500.
9-0, Holmes.
All right, Lambo.
There's truth here, Lambo. We gotta expose the truth here. What Eitan's not telling you is that he bailed on the 97.3 ESPN War League after he paid before the draft happened. He only played for 3 weeks, and his excuse is that 1, he can't get instant gratification out of it, and 2, he can't log into his account.
Well,
so really, he's really pushing hard on the daily fantasy.
Why would I play yearly? How much do you win on that yearly league? What's first place on the ESPN yearly league?
It was over $200.
Okay, I just won $1,500.
You just won $1,500 in a week.
Well, I'm sorry, Eitan.
That's the point.
Big
All right.
No.
I got a question
Dude,
for Lambo.
I put $2.50 in that league.
Right,
Come
on.
on.
I don't want to get lost in this
Come on.
fantasy crap.
You're still talking to me about, eating, and I'm telling you that the best hit in life is a crack pipe, and you're telling me that, no, it's coming from eating carbs.
Right.
I'm giving you the hit.
Lambo, the intrepid reporter that you are, I am sure that you dug up and found where the Jerry Jones's rabid cat ended up as it went down the tunnel? Where did that cat go, and did it indeed belong to Jera, who actually let that thing run out on the field when his team was losing 12-3? Next thing you know, they win the game going away.
Yeah, Jarrett said he was scared to death because he's so superstitious. He thought that it was going to ruin the Cowboys' mojo. Turns out it's part of a cat colony that lives underneath the stands, eats up all the remaining sausage and pepper sandwiches and the rats that, inhabit that place during the week.
Wow. Wait a second. Isn't that where they put Hoffa?
Well, I think he might have been looking for Hoffa's ghost. I think that might have been why he, got spooked. It was right after Halloween. Remember that? So I think he was out there looking for Hoffa. But I've got to point this out. He's actually spent more time in the MetLife end zone than Le'Veon Bell.
Whoa, nice work. I'll tell you what, that cat...
That's not yours. Come on, who did you take that from?
It's popped up over Twitter a few different times.
That might have been Manish. I'm going to give credit to Manish for that.
But I'm going to credit Kevin Manahan, the editor at NJ.com, that sent us over all kinds of factoids on the cat, and that was probably my favorite on the list.
Nice. Well, that cat definitely looked well fed. He wasn't missing a lot of meals.
Fat cats,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, Matt Lombardo.
And they just built that American Dream Mall. So
Here you go.
Run out of scraps at MetLife.
Yeah, that's right. There's a ski slope in there.
There is. Hey, Lambo, real quick. Who's the most famous pudgy? When you hear the term pudgy, who do you think of?
The cheesesteak place around the corner from my house that has the best cheesesteaks I've ever tasted.
That's the place that had. Then that is the place that had that satellite spot in Conshohocken that I walk by all the time. See?
Okay.
Not Lambo didn't go Pudgy the Fat Bastard, the rapper,
or Pudge Rodriguez.
Correct.
Yeah. All right, Lambo, great stuff as always. Matt Lombardo is brought to you, as always, by Gentleman Golfers Supply Company. Represent your love of the gentleman's game on or off the course with Gentleman Golfers Supply Company's extensive line of streetwear and golf apparel. Just visit ggsupplyco.com. And he also appeared on the Lighthouse Insurance guest line. Have your renewals been increasing over the years? Well, when was the last time you actually reviewed all your commercial insurance coverages? You got to call managing partner Kevin McAdams right now at 800-691-1686 or online at lighthousein's.biz. Now, great hit from Lambo. We got some audio. I want to ask you, which ones do you want? We got Kevin Harlan doing the Monday Night Football radio broadcast, and he broadcast the cat on the field.
I was watching the TV broadcast.
Or Bob Menery doing a little of what Bob Menery does
on
with
the cat.
Yes.
Well, we should probably play both.
Okay, which one do you want first?
Let's play the real one first, and then we'll play the Menery one after.
Okay. All right, so Kevin Harlan first, who we love. And we used to get on all the time.
The guy is drunk!
That might be his best ever.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I will say I don't think this one comes close to that.
No, nor should it.
Right.
I mean, that should stand alone on its own.
Yeah.
The guy is drunk!
Let's go to Kevin Harlan.
Oh, there's a cat, and a black cat is taking the field. A black cat is running from the 20 to the near side of the 10. From the 39 in Dallas, here's a short throw down the middle, caught by Ingram. Caught at the 35, went to the 30. Now the cat running the other way. And so is Ingram at the 30 to the 25, to the 24-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. It's a catch run at 15. Now the cat is stopped at the 50.
So is it bad luck for the Giants? Is it bad luck for the Cowboys?
I don't know, but they've stopped playing. The players with hands on hips are watching the cat run and zigzag all over the field. The black cat is at the other end of the field. He's at the 8.
Doesn't know that it was last Thursday that was Halloween. Thursday night football, not Monday night football.
He's a little bit late. Now he is sitting and looking. Now he's at the 5. He's walking. He's walking to the 3. He's at the 2. And the cat is in the CDW red zone. CDW, people who get it now, a policeman, state troopers come on the field, and the cat runs into the end zone. That is a touchdown. And the cat is elusive, kind of like Barkley and Elliott. But he didn't know where to go. Look at, they're trying to corner him, and they got him in the end zone. There are state troopers all around this cat, which now climbs up into the stands. And the fans are running for the... Now it goes back on the field again. And it's running in the back of the end zone. And it runs up the tunnel.
Now, the best part of that... The best part of that to me was him working in the sponsorship of the Red Zone.
Yeah.
The CD Zone. He worked in with the cat.
Well, that's that now, like Larry Costigan, right? Howie Dederoff. These guys can't come down on on what's his name?
Kevin
Harlan
Yeah.
now for going off. Not that they ever would.
Right.
But yeah, I worked the sponsor in. No, that was pretty. I'll tell you this. Kurt Warner needs to take a step back.
Yeah, he stepped on him a few times and he didn't
Yeah.
offer anything substantial.
No.
Yeah,
Shocker.
I agree. And
You know who would be great in that position?
Wheels.
Nope. We don't have the TV call, but I guarantee you that Booger allowed it. That awful play-by-play guy, Booger, allowed that to breathe.
Tessitore?
Yeah.
Tessitore would have run out of breath with about midway through because he would have been so excited.
I didn't want to insult Kevin Harlan and bring the Tessitore call of the cat out there, but Booger was, again, in great form last night, and you guys all hating on Booger McFarland. Shame on you.
Hey, I put out a tweet early in the season that he's 100 times better than Witten, okay? And I'll leave it at that. But the other thing was...
Not hard-hitting Frank Witten.
Never.
Mark Witten. Sorry.
Mark Witten.
Yeah.
Is he a baseball player?
Yeah, remember
Yeah.
Mark Witten hit four home runs out in a game once.
Oh, my God.
You were saying.
Well, the other thing is, when I was watching this on TV last night, ESPN had it, and they're looking at the cat, and it was great. My wife was like laughing, like, oh my gosh, she's totally into it. Then all of a sudden they pan away to players' faces, and I'm like, who the hell cares what some guy on the Cowboys sideline is like, what his face looks like?
Right.
They missed where the cat went up into the stands, I think. Because I don't remember
that's
seeing it
terrible.
going up into the stands.
No.
I remember it going into the end zone, then over to the corner, and then along the back line of the end zone, along the wall, and then out the tunnel.
Right.
But they missed when it went into the stands because they're looking at players.
Yep.
I'm like, what are you doing?
No, that was terrible. that is awful.
So in other words, there's a feral cat lair underneath the stadium. How about that?
See, I don't know. How has that survived for so long?
Well, that stadium hasn't been there that long. Really?
How long do you think it's been there for?
I don't know. It's a couple of years. It hasn't been there that long, but
It's the old. I mean, it's the old
Giants stadium,
Right.
but
It's the same building, isn't it?
Well, I mean, they built it right next to it.
That's what I'm saying.
You know?
Like it's the equivalent of the link to Citizens Bank.
Yeah.
Probably even closer, to be honest with you.
Yeah, probably.
Because it's like that same similar lot.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what maybe that's proof that Hoffa isn't there.
That he's not there.
No.
I gotta watch The Irishman because that's about the Hoffa
It is.
thing.
Now, will the Giant Stadium be referenced in there?
I don't think so.
No, probably
this
not.
is like back in the 70s, 60s, and 70s, man.
Yeah.
When he disappeared, 70s.
I've got breaking news.
Yeah?
From Jimmy Kemsky.
Uh-oh.
Source. Former Eagles wide receiver Jordan Matthews is in Philadelphia for a physical.
Oh,
I tweeted that rock, period, bottom, period.
Oh, boy. There
We are
go.
in trouble.
Well, we're going to talk a little Sixers next.
Yeah, you had some thoughts on what happened last night. People have some thoughts. People are breaking down Game 5 like it's an 16-week NFL season, and there are issues with Ben Simmons now, and Michael Kasky blowing. I had to check ahead of time to see if he was on with Gil.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I don't think they have room for him on Gil's show.
Is it jammed today? Wow.
You're listening to the Maze and Aton Show, presented by Dry Guys of South Jersey. Go to dryguysonair.com.
Oh, wow. One of those good. Yeah. He's a little long-winded sometimes because he likes to get more stuff in. And he keeps going on and on and on. But he's good.
No, I agree. And he's fun too. I mean,
Yeah.
have fun with him.
Yeah, you can fuck around with him.
Kept the Sixers night in
Is
Phoenix.
his dog over there?
Tuesday with Thompson
Dog?
with the PT.
Oh, shit. He's still outside?
He's
More
outside.
details on this year's 99 Miles Party.
The Sports Bash, weekdays from 2 to 6 on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
There are so many choices when it comes to selecting the right financial institution. Start with the Philadelphia Federal Credit Union. We're right here in your city. We're also the official credit union of Temple University, and anyone who lives, works, worships, and studies in Philadelphia can open an account. With convenient locations throughout our city of brotherly love. Also online at pfcu.com with free online and mobile banking. We're not here for our profit, here for yours. Federally insured by NCUA.
Del Val Insurance wants to save you 40% on your car insurance right now, and they will do it today. There's managing partner Jim Milgram.
A lot of people pay a lot
bit more premium than they need to, and they may not have the coverage to justify what they're paying.
There's no charge for the complimentary insurance review. You will save money and you will connect with a company that is an advocate, not a broker. Go to dvigi.com or simply call Jim at 215-354-0122. That's 215-354-0122.
I've met clients that think that I, as an independent agent, charge a fee versus going direct to Geico or going direct to Progressive. We do not charge a fee.
Let Del Val Insurance save you up to 40% on your car insurance. Get your complimentary review. Call Jim Muehlbrunner directly at 215-354-0122. 215-354-0122. Your savings are a phone call away.
Covering Philadelphia and the suburbs with a tremendous history of great success in the real estate market, meet Kristen Thompson. A proud graduate of Villanova, Kristen has been in the real estate business for 20 years and specializes in buyers, sellers, and investors. You can call Kristen directly at the Keller Williams Realty Group, 215-429-2451, 215-429-2451. Kristen Thompson, your real estate advocate who will work tirelessly on your behalf while ensuring the sale or the purchase is the easiest part of the process.
Here's a message for contractors and business owners concerned about the bottom line. Make sure your commercial insurance coverage is right. Call Lighthouse Commercial Insurance. They can help. Let Lighthouse put together a comprehensive plan that is right for you for the right money. With 25 years of experience in the Philadelphia market, they know the most reputable and the most aggressive carriers. Give my friend Kevin a call at 800-691-1686 or visit them online today at www.lighthousein's.biz.
Everyone wants hot water.
Dude, we've even got, by virtue of retweeting these audio clips, we've even got, by virtue of retweeting these audio clips, Krause's Jacob Media account up from like 60 followers to 141.
Wow.
We get paid for that. I know.
Manufacturers and to apartment complexes. Contractors choose Emax. Emax has tankless electric hot water heating products to address any application. Emax products are the best point-of-use tankless electric water heaters, easy to install and maintain. Emax products provide endless hot water, save space, save water, save energy, and save money. Emax is evolving hot water. Find Emax at distributors or online at emax.com. That's EEMAX.com. EEMAX.com.
Tollman Joe's in the heart of South Philly is Tony Bruno's home on Eagles game day. And for those of you in Cape May County, Tollman Joe's in Wildwood is your football home every week in September. Tollman Joe's, where wings were created, wings were perfected, and where your football Sunday is set to begin this Sunday and every Eagles game day. Get to Tollman Joe's. Join me, Tony Bruno. I'll see you on game day at Tollman Joe's.
I'm Steve Light, union electrician and proud military dad. When I worked as an ocean lifeguard, I rescued people who struggled to stay afloat. Today, many families struggle to keep their heads above water. I'm now running for Atlantic County Freeholder because we need to grow our economy and fix our roads. As a councilman in Absecon, I never voted for a tax increase because families need more money in their pockets. I'm Steve Light, and if you live in Absecon, Brigantine, Galloway, or Port Republic, I'd be honored to have your vote. Paid for by Steve Light for Freeholder, 413 South Shore Road, Absecon, New Jersey.
Geico presents, not again, another voicemail from your roommate.
Hey man, so I was in a rush to get to work and I left the back door open. Could you shut it? I left it wide open. While you're there, could you also turn off the oven and all of the burners? My mom never let me use the oven. I wonder why.
The Geico Insurance Agency could help keep your personal property protected, like if it's your roommate's first time operating an oven. Visit geico.com to see how easy it is to switch and save on renter's insurance.
This is Jesse's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
As a nurse, not making it to work was not
MKB's ready. You got 20 seconds.
But driving through the snow with my wiper blade struggling, I just didn't feel safe. So I pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts, and before I knew it, an employee was offering to install the wiper blades on my car.
I said Conshohocken area, bro. I hate these fucking guys.
You're listening to Mays and Aton with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
All right, so more fallout on Twitter regarding the potential signing of Jordan Matthews. And again, I love their responses because people are looking at this, I think, from a myopic, short-sighted standpoint. I'm not anti what Ryan Foles at Foley Tweets 1 tweeted. I think people look at this like, what are you going to do now? But it's more about what you didn't do before than what you are going to do now. Now, also some breaking news regarding our buddy down in Jacksonville. Do you see this? Nick Foles will get the start on Sunday over Gardner Minshew.
I kind of figured that.
And it's
happened.
about damn time, as Minshew Mania is kaput.
I think this is the first eligible week for him to come back, isn't it?
It is.
KB's on hold.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I kind of figured that would happen.
All right, so at Foley Tweets 1, don't you think a wide receiver lineup of Greg Ward, Matt Collins, and JJ is rock bottom? Because that is just about realistic. So before we get out of here, we'll get more on the latest with Jordan Matthews and if, in fact, the Eagles are signing him, just running a physical. But we mentioned Sixers. They get their first loss of the season. Some people are like, I told you so, I told you so. Other people are using this first loss as the world is falling. I don't know where you stand on it, but Michael Kasky-Blomain, you have to hit the real in there.
The real and Mike KB.
Correct.
The real Mike KB.
Joining us on Twitter and now here on the show, covers the Sixers, the NBA, with 97.3, now CBS Sports Line. So, MKB, we appreciate the time, man. What is the correct reaction to last night's loss to the Suns?
First of all, guys, I appreciate the clarification on the Twitter handle. Good looking out. But
well, how many fake MKBs are out there? Because that's something that we can do our due diligence here, but we need to spread the word if that's the case.
Yeah, I think a couple have popped up over the years, so you got to make sure it's the right one,
All right, just making sure.
But, yeah, I appreciate that. But no, my reaction last night was super mild. Obviously, that winning streak was going to come to an end at some point. I think the outcome wasn't as concerning, obviously, as a couple of the trends in the game. Obviously, Ben Simmons and his lack of offense was the main story. And, when you're not able to pull out a win like that without your best player, there's, some questions tend to arise. I didn't think it was super concerning. The Suns are obviously a team that's, they're really hot. They're playing good to start the season. Devin Booker is, blossoming all-star superstar out there. They were at home. All the excuses you can make, so I'm not too worried about it, but I do think that there was a couple things that we saw in that game that were worth, some concern.
Yeah, I mean, the Suns are off to a nice start, but this isn't, Charles Barkley, Kevin Johnson, and Dan Marley of the 90s here. And here we have no Joel Embiid for the second night. Now, thankfully, he'll be back for the Utah game. And Ben Simmons plays 36 minutes, takes 8 shots, and ends up with 6 points. And, oh, by the way, really didn't fill the stat sheet, in most of the other categories that he typically does. I mean, how can a guy with that much ability, and I know he plays great defense, just sort of disappear, and I'm going to use the word disappear, offensively? I'm not even asking him to shoot jump shots or three-pointers. I'm asking him to just get to the rim and do what he normally does when a team needs him without the big star in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fairness, that's what they're paying them to do. They paid him as a number 2 star, and you would like to see some, improvement on the game. He came in the league as a great player. There's no taking that away. But I do think it's fair now that, we're 6 games into the third season. He's looking a lot still like the same player that he was as a rookie. There's no, despite all that hype over the offseason with the video of him taking the jump shots, him making the 3 in the preseason, you can tell clearly watching the team that it's not even, a thought in his head to pull or do anything different than what he's done in the past. And, just like teams have done in the playoffs, we saw the Suns do it last night. They stick, Aaron Baines on him, a bigger body that he's not able to just physically overpower. They block off the driving lanes, and then he becomes, not want to say useless, but very, one-dimensional out there. And that, it's an issue for this team that obviously, it was an issue last year, and still it's only 6 games, but as of right now, it's still, a major problem.
And he only got to the free throw line, one time? He took 2 free throws.
That's probably the biggest issue of it all, right? Is
right.
That if you're not going to do one thing, then the easiest way to overcompensate, or at least compensate for that, as you see in the NBA on a nightly basis, is you get to the line.
Yeah, absolutely. And you would think after, he made those 2 clutch free throws in the Portland game, he looked pretty confident. You would think, all right, maybe this is something he could build off. But then last night in Phoenix, it seemed almost the opposite. He was, clearly not seeking contact, which, like you guys just said, if you're still not comfortable pulling up, you're still 6'10", 6'11", bigger than most guys. Get in there, draw some contact, and even if you're shooting them at a 60-70% clip to start, that points on the board. So I'm in agreement with you guys there.
All right, now Furkan Korkmaz hit the big shot the other night in Portland at the end of the game.
Here we go.
He had 20 points last night in not a great deal of minutes, even though he did get the start. Is, in your opinion, Brett Brown really growing a bomber?
From Brett, and I think he's trying to. I think, I don't think Furkan Korkmaz is a starting caliber player in the NBA at this point. I think we saw that last night. He shouldn't be, in the starting lineup of the team. But I do think, he has the skill set of a shooter. I think we see a little bit of improvement on defense. I think he's drawn like 3 or 4 charges already this season. He's bulked up a little bit. I do think he could be a guy that could come in and give you 10, 12, 14 minutes a game and be an option to knock down shots like we saw last night. So I think now we're seeing Brett probably try to overcompensate a little bit, get him more touches than he probably should early in this season, so that when, the roster and the rotation is settled come playoff time, he has the confidence to come in, even if he hasn't played much during the game, to come in and potentially be a threat to knock down some big shots in the postseason.
Okay. At one point last week, people were calling him the Mac Hollins of the Philadelphia 76ers. I get that he had a couple of big nights, and I'm not going to take anything away from this young man who's busting his ass, but can't we, and not you, MKB, but we collectively as a city and fan base, can't we give it 10 days and see what this team looks like with Embiid back and now some more limited minutes for this kid, and really trying to make the most out of less opportunity before we start? And again, not you, I'm saying, the social aspect of it, anointing this guy to be the next JJ Redick.
Come on, it's Philly. You're asking for patience from people in Philadelphia?
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, I know I'm not going to get it with Ben Simmons. I've already given up that fight. Can I at least get it with Furkan Korkmaz?
Yeah, no, I do think that's fair. I think at this point, you don't know. Like, it could go coming into the season, it could went either way. He could have been out of the rotation and out of the lineup, a month into the season. I think so far, given the opportunity, he's played pretty well with it. But, for me, obviously the verdict is still out whether or not he's going to be, a piece that they can really use moving forward. So, I'm with you on the patience aspect.
All right, let me ask this real quick, because I think what we're seeing early on, and this is the concern, and I don't want to sound negative because I'm not, but I'm asking it from a positive concern standpoint, which is, how do I, as a fan, make sure that I get this Al Horford that I've gotten in the first 5 games, game 80 and 81 and 90 in the playoffs? Because he has been amazing, and I don't think there's any shock when Embiid has been out, but I need that thing to last.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the first thing I think is he's going to, definitely need to get some rest days in there. I don't think that at his age and, as long as he's been in the league, you can expect him to play at that high of a level, for over the course of an 82-game season. So I definitely want to see Brett, give him some nights off throughout the course of the season. But I think that, the key for Al is he can do so much that, I like to see them run the offense through him in the high post. It gives him the chance to make plays for others if they back off. He obviously has that range. And I think that's something that they have to do a little bit more of when Joel is in there. Joel obviously takes up so much of the usage rate for this team. But I think that you figure out ways, especially when Joel's on the bench in games, where you just run the offense through Al, and we saw how that worked last night. And I think that's something that Brett obviously is going to have to continue to kind of flesh out, as the season draws on.
Michael Kasky-Blomain joining us on the Lighthouse Insurance guest line. He's from CBS Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at @TheRealMikeKB. All right, last one from me. Aside from the frustrations with Ben Simmons like last night, how would you assess this team's chemistry offensively thus far through 6 games? And what do you think outside of Ben? Do you think they need to do better?
I I would say it's still developing. Obviously, the defensive chemistry of the team is far ahead of the offensive chemistry at this point in the season, which I think a lot of us, I know you guys have said it, I think a lot of us expected to be. I think that they've gotten really positive contributions, obviously, like we were just talking about, from Al. Tobias seems to be, pretty much living up to the contract to as much as he can. He's looking a little bit more assertive and aggressive. I think that they, obviously Ben's issue in terms of shooting is probably the main thing. And then other than that, I think it's just a matter of throwing the comfortability with each other and getting ironing the rotation out. Brett's obviously in the early stages of trying to figure out who works well with where. There might need to be some trades or something coming down the pipe. I'm still not convinced that there's enough firepower coming off of that bench when, you're relying so heavily on Korkmaz or Mike Scott or, who's great defensively, but obviously has a long way to go to be a contributor on the offensive end. So there's still concerns for me in terms of the depth and the Ben Simmons thing, which ironically is basically the same questions that existed last year. So, it's only been 6 games. I think there's a lot of positive. They're definitely better defensively. There's more talent, like top-tier talent, but there's still some lingering questions for me before I can say that I think they're definitely going to be, in the finals or in the championship.
Awesome, MKB. Appreciate the time, man. At the real MKB.
No, the real Mike.
Oh, the real Mike KB.
Yes.
Sorry. Thanks, bro.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it. Always good talking to you.
Likewise,
man.
likewise. Yeah, you can't mess that up.
All right, the real Mike KB appeared on the Lighthouse Insurance guest line. I'm telling you, man, you got any commercial insurance needs, workers' compensation, general liability, auto fleet, you name it. You got to call managing partner Kevin McAdams right now at 800-691-1686. He's got access to all the markets. It's going to save you some money. Check him out online, too, at lighthouse.ins.biz.
All right, coming up, you want to revisit this poll?
Oh, the donut poll?
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Anything else?
That's it, man.
Here comes the dog. He is on a clock. Go get him. There he is. There he is!
Back after this.
Listen to Mays and Aton anywhere.
Will you stay focused? Can you focus on something to start today's show?
Download the 97.3 ESPN mobile app now. 97.3ESPN.com/app. Listen to Sixers basketball tomorrow with Tom McInnes calling all the action.
Are you kidding me? This is Tom McInnes, radio voice of the Philadelphia 76ers, and you can listen to all the exciting Sixers basketball action right here on 97.3 ESPN FM.
The Sixers are in Utah to take on the Jazz. Coverage begins at 9 p.m.
Sixers basketball.
He shoots it. It's good. Burkhardt, Korkmaz.
On South Jersey's home for the
Burkhardt,
76ers. 97.3 ESPN.
What's that?
I am so ready for the football season. Are you? You better be college with a huge day on Saturday, pro football on Sunday. Make sure you bet with the best. My guys at the #1 casino in Pennsylvania, Parks Casino and Sportsbook. My guys at Parks Casino and Sportsbook have it all in person or online. Download the Parks Casino Sportsbook app right now in the App Store. Go to parkscasino.com/PA. Use promo code SWEEP, 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 to get a risk-free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit. ParksCasino.com/PA. Again, PARX Casino.com/PA, and use promo code SWEEP to get your risk-free bet of up to $250. Parks Casino and Sportsbook. My guys, they should be the guys you trust as well. Place all your favorite sports bets, point spreads, money lines, headline, in-game betting. Sign up now, get a risk-free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit. Promo code SWEEP. Get your risk-free bet of up to $250. Risk-free bet is refunded on the loss as a free bet. You must be in Pennsylvania. You must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get back.
Beautify your home for the
Get back,
holidays with Tom Adams Windows and Carpets. Tom Adams Windows and Carpets is offering free installation on all hard surfaces: vinyl, tile, laminate, and hardwood. Save on Pergo, Mohawk, Bennington Redwood Plus, Armstrong, and Cortex flooring. Get your home ready for Thanksgiving with a beautiful, durable, pet-proof Pergo Extreme or Cortex floor. Find out why Tom Adams Windows and Carpets has won more national awards in the past 3 years than any other contractor in the tri-state area.
So this is
Check out their 3 large designer showrooms, plus get free measurement.
So
Tom Adams is also offering 12-month financing. New single accounts get a $100 Visa card rebate with purchase. See store for all the details.
Hurry in because this free hard surface installation sale
I think
ends November 13th.
it's one of two.
Find
I
out
think
more
it's
at
whoever follows him
TomAdamsWC.com.
has, like, I think there might be like an NBA or some type of account that follows him and they retweeted. Yeah, and also, I think your activity determines, like, I mute all this shit, like, I mute everything, and I feel like that's what's hurting me too.
Eagles from the sidelines,
Like,
head to
all
Dunkin'
these,
and get a kick before
I had
the
to mute
kickoff.
Nick Kale
Plus, DD Perks members get a
It's like 40
$1
tweets
medium
every
hot
time the
or iced
Nashville
coffee the
Predators
day
play.
after every
Like,
Eagles win
he's
this
like breaking
season.
down
Just use
hockey
your Perks and Roll Dunkin'
play-by-play
card or show your
and tweeting
loyalty
about it.
ID.
I'm like, are you fucking
Eagles
kidding me?
fans,
Oh my
run
God.
on Dunkin'. Excludes cold brew. Limit one per guest
Trying
per
to act
visit.
like he's all of a
Participation
sudden a
may vary.
hockey
Limited
expert.
time offer.
It's human nature to care for one another. It can be as simple as sharing an umbrella, holding the door, or lending a hand. At Independence Blue Cross, we've been doing our part too for the last 80 years, providing access to the largest network of doctors and hospitals, as well as offering nurse health coaches and gym reimbursements. Because we believe there's caring in all of us. Independence Blue Cross. Learn more at ibx.com.
Don't let mold and the musty smell that comes with it destroy your home. Dry Guys of South Jersey wants to insulate and protect your home all year round. And this family-owned business of 30 years uses over 30 patented products and warranties that will eliminate
still
mold.
can't get over that.
Let Dry Guys solve the problem.
10-year low.
10-year low, man.
844-470-4808. 844-470-4808. Or
Great
visit
news.
DryGuysOnAir.com.
Really? Yeah.
Take
Oh,
the
that's
first
awesome.
step.
Oh,
You
yeah.
need to land
Oh, yeah.
Go to DryGuysOnAir.com.
This football season gets us
Oh, great to hear.
Minute 30, guys.
Oh, what's
voted one of the 10 best sports bars in
Isn't that great?
Pennsylvania. It's College Game Day, Football Sunday, plus Monday Night Football, and a special live NFL countdown to kickoff.
Oh, we gotta read those
show
texts
with the Tony
on the
Bruno
text
Show
board about
every
Gil and the
Thursday
donuts.
starting at
There was
6
2 of
p.m. Get the daily specials on
One about
Facebook and find your way to
Gil
Screwball
gets a
Sports
sandwich,
Bar and Grill in Santa
cheeseburger,
Prussia.
and you get
Screwball,
the
where
donuts in
sports
the
people
bun,
go
and the other
to
one
watch the game.
added to the dating profiles that improves the people.
It's a lifetime of memories and a
When I
stable
said that a couple
future.
weeks ago, that this is
Vince
a dating
Mazzio and John
profile.
Armato
What
understand
dating
that.
profile? Like, remember when I
They know
said,
how much seniors
imagine if
depend
this
on
was
staying
used
in
as
their
a dating
homes.
profile, like
But they
Life
know that
Cereal,
for
my
too many
favorite movie is
seniors,
Jaws,
rising
and
property
like
taxes
people are
put that
listening
at
and they're
risk.
retaining this
Which
shit.
is why
So,
Vince Mazzio and John Armato work together in the state assembly to freeze property taxes for seniors, making it easier for Atlantic County
all right, tomorrow,
seniors
do we
to
have
stay in their
Bob from
homes.
Crossing Broad
And
tomorrow,
Mazzio
or
and
I'll text him
Armato
now?
work to lower the cost of prescription drugs. Vince Mazzio and John Armato are making it easier for families in Atlantic County to meet their monthly budgets. And Mazzio and Armato are making it possible to retire in Atlantic County with dignity and respect, which is one more reason we should vote for Vince Mazzio
It's a
and
great
John
time.
Armato.
It is. FKB.
15 seconds in New Jersey 08225.
You get it, Matt Black Kia. You're the #1 Honda dealer in New Jersey.
Matt Black Kia.
Matt Black
Does Bernie even
62
tweet? I know he's on Twitter, but I don't think he ever tweets.
and Harper Town Show.
And I follow
on
him.
Route 37 in Toms River.
This
Oh,
is
Vern.
Mays and Aton with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN and the
Not
97.3
much.
ESPN mobile app.
All right, last chance to win on the text board, 609-403-0973. Something is still off with Aton's mic. That's at 110. Is it because I don't have the
mic screen? Sort of like, and for people that don't know what we're talking about, it's like a little piece of foam almost that goes over the microphone where you talk into it, and it sort of takes away some of the breathing or it just clears everything up. I don't exactly know how it does it, but it does it.
All right.
You know?
I got to get more. All right. Apple cinnamon donuts, this on the text board.
Yeah.
Gil adds to his horrific online dating profile.
Wow. Now, I love that text for a couple of reasons. Because he's absolutely right, whoever it is, he or she. But that proves that people listen. Because that's something that you and I brought up a couple of weeks ago when they started doing these polls. Imagine if the responses of each of the guys was used in an online dating profile. Like Mike Gill, I love Life Cereal.
What else does he have? It's horrific.
I listen to Radiohead when I'm not watching Jaws. You know what I mean? And then as a late night snack, I sneak down to the fridge and get an apple cinnamon donut.
Boy, that is just...
You know what I mean? Swipe right,
left.
Yeah, that's what Josh said too.
I don't think you could make enough money in the world to overcome that dating profile, right? Because that's the only thing, for a guy, the only thing you have going for you to overcome that dating profile is that you look amazing.
Right.
Or you make a ton, and I mean a ton of money.
Jack, yes.
Correct.
Now, why don't you just buy from Amazon? I just see you over here buying something. You buy something from Amazon or on Amazon probably multiple times each day. Well, every time I come over, there's boxes at your door.
6 times 4, I bought 24.
Microphone screens.
I did.
You just bought those right now.
Just right now.
But you have another headset that you could just take that off of that headset.
Well, that's robbing Peter to play Paul.
Yeah, but I mean, how often do we have a third?
I want to have Matt Mullen or Matt Millen in here. I don't care. All right? All right, hold on a second.
I'd rather have Matt Millen than Dick Stockton.
Yeah, Dick Stockton is brutal.
Yes, and as great as he has been, and he's had a great career. I mean, I'm talking going back to the NBA in the 80s when it was just fantastic, to all the football and everything else that he's done.
Meanwhile, Twitch, by the way, real quick, is saying the mic is fine.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, it's that one idiot.
Well, see, but we always have these issues, too, with the mic levels.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Now, you're saying Dick Stockton is it? Like, that's it?
Well, it's been it for a little while now. I just can't believe that Fox keeps bringing him back. You know what I mean?
I think he's grandfathered in at this point.
What, like Gary McCord thought he was?
Exactly right. Yeah, what happened there?
Yeah.
Rough week for Gary McCord.
Yeah, Gary McCord and Jason Martinez both in the same week. That was rough for me, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
That was 2 personal shots.
Me as well.
Yeah.
Not for Gary McCord. I don't know Gary.
Especially when you're filling it with Davis Love and Trevor Immelman, my God.
Yeah, that's
Jesus.
That's
Jack.
like, filling, well, I'll save the Jason analogy. 609-403-0973. Barkley is clearly dodging. I just had it here. Barkley's clearly dodging it. He's giving maybe 50%. Pathetic. Dogging it, pardon me. Barkley. Saquon Barkley?
No, he's not dogging it.
No.
You see that screen pass last night? Where he almost took it in, and as soon as he got tackled, I knew they weren't going to score.
Right.
It's like, unless they make a big play, they're kicking a field goal.
It's amazing.
It really is.
Right.
It's awful.
Now, I was looking up for more Gill rips. There's one who said, no way that Gill's favorite donut is an apple cinnamon one, but then that person sent another text, so that text got buried.
Oh, okay.
But it was something about a double cheeseburger donut.
Yes, using the donut as the buns.
Well, that's a move out of Baldy's book.
Correct.
Right.
He kind of started that whole thing.
Now, here's the thing. We just spent 8 minutes talking about all this. It won't even be brought up.
No, it won't. Did you try the Popeyes spicy chicken sandwich?
No, somebody in Maryland got stabbed.
There was a death, right?
Yeah,
Did the person die?
He did. Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, move me to the moon as fast as humanly possible.
Wow.
I can't get off this planet fast enough. Seriously.
Where are you going?
The moon.
In a rocket?
Yep.
You going to Mars?
Elon Musk.
He's going to Mars.
I'd live in Mars.
You would.
It can't be worse than.
Sometimes I think you're there.
A lot of that's. Why do you think I try to get there all the time? The alternative is here, where people stab each other over Popeyes. Check out
Sports Bash is next.
The Maze and Aton Show.
That was
Jacob
awesome.
Media Sports present.
You want to promote him, even though he probably didn't get back to you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Right when you are.
Coming up, a Wednesday edition of the Maze and Aton Show, noon to 2. We'll chat with Bob Wankel from Crossing Broad.
And we'll cross the streams with Tony Bruno at 1:30. And we might even hit on a little college basketball, which tips off tonight.
Maze at Aton, noon to 2, 97.3 ESPN or the 97.3 ESPN app.